Hi friends, welcome back. So today I have a kind of interesting little project for us to work on together. I have been sitting on this, not literally sitting on it, it's been sitting in my office for over a year. It's this tile that has sunflowers and leaves, and it's just this cute little like outdoor tile that my mom found when she was cleaning out her garage. And she gave it to me thinking that it was something I could paint. And at the time I was like, it's okay. I'll take it. Maybe I'll paint it sometime. And the longer it's been in my house, the more I've really liked it. So finally today I thought, let's just take some time and pop some color on it. So that's what we're going to do. I will go ahead and change the camera angle and I'll let you watch while I paint these little 3D sunflowers and leaves on this really kind of cute tile. And I have literally too many ideas of where I'm going to put this when it's done. But I guess we'll see what color it turns out before we get there. So let's see how it goes. So here she is in all her glory. This is the tile that my mom gave me. At first I was like, well, I could just paint it and give it back to you because it's not super my style, but then I've had it for like a year, and the longer I've had it, the more I'm like, no, I actually do really like this thing, so I'm probably going to keep it. And today we're going to paint it and bring it some nice happy life. So like I said, I did the background color already. That's still drying, so it might be, I think you can see down here it's starting to dry and it's turning matte again. And then over here it's still wet, so it's really shiny. I was not super discriminate in areas like this where the background is showing through evidence that it's still wet, by the way. Anyway, where it's showing through, I wasn't being like super careful to not get that paint on the stems or on the leaves or the petals or whatever, because I figured, well, we're going to be painting it anyway, so it's not a huge deal if it's not super duper neat to start with. At least that's what I figured. And I'm not going to go with a super realistic painting or color scheme, I guess is what I'm looking for there, for these, just because that's not very me. I do like sunflowers, but I don't think that they have to be those specific colors. I know most of the time they have like the more vibrant green leaves, but I'm pretty sure I've seen them with a darker green as well. So that's what I'm going to go with because that's what I like. My mom's actually going to laugh at me because this is totally going to match my house. I have a wall that is basically this teal color, and that was one of the first things I did when I moved into my house, was I painted that wall. I'll try, once this is dry too, to like move this around so you can see exactly what I'm painting when I'm painting, because I know the camera angle did kind of cut off a little bit. I have yet to figure out a way to place this camera up a little bit higher, and this is the best I could do with what I had. So here we are. I also apologize because it is ridiculously windy outside, so if you hear wind in the background, well, that's because it's super windy. I like to say that I don't have spring where I live, I have wind. That is the name of the season. It's so windy, there's a wind advisory, and I'm not going outside. I actually have a scar on my knee from a time when it was super windy here. And I was, my best friend and I lived in the same apartment complex, and I had been visiting her, and I was like one parking lot. There was one parking lot between our two apartments, and I was walking back to my apartment from her apartment, and the wind knocked me over, and I have a big old scar on my knee from hitting the pavement. Ridiculous? Yes. True? Yes, unfortunately. don't think you can see entirely what I'm painting right now, but I'm working on this leaf. I thought I would start with the less important parts, I guess. So I thought if I went ahead and got the background done before we started the video, that then maybe this wouldn't take like an hour for the video. Because much as I do occasionally enjoy an hour-long painting video, sometimes by the end of that hour, it's just old. At least for me when I'm editing. And I just don't feel like it anymore. Basically, I don't want to edit a video that's more than an hour. So, doing what I can to make it shorter. I do think it's really interesting how taste changes as you get older, because definitely, like when my mom gave me this piece, I didn't really like it, and I was like, oh, that's not going to go with anything in my house. What am I ever going to do with that? I'll just paint it for you so that you can display it somewhere. That'll be fine. And then just literally, it has been sitting behind a door in my office. And every time I've looked at it, I've grown like more fond of it. And I'm like, I don't know if I can actually give that back. It's really cute. So here we are, and I'm probably not going to give it back because it's really cute. The nice thing is when it's your mom, she's probably not going to say anything. Be just like, oh, that's fine. Because she wasn't going to do anything with it anyway. If I didn't want it, they were going to throw it away. So, even more reason why I should keep it. And then I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to paint it, I may as well show you guys. Granted, you can't really see what I'm doing right now, but you will, I promise. I would shift it up, except down here is super wet still for the background, and I don't want to get more paint on my hands. I kind of pride myself on the limited amount of paint that I have gotten on my clothes, on my hands, on myself in general. Especially since I've kind of shifted the focus of the YouTube channel to be more art-centric. I've really done like quite well. I also, a couple of weeks ago was the first time I got paint on my carpet, and I've lived in this house and painted in this room for like 2 years. So I'm legit pleased with not getting any paint on my floor until a couple weeks ago. And it was only white. And my carpet is like cream colored. So I was able to get the majority of it out. And what I couldn't get out, I just kind of blended into the carpet. So you would never know it's there except that I just told you. Super proud of myself for only spilling once. I did have to put this tile on a towel because I was just going to do it on the table like I normally do, but it has just enough of a wobble that it was going to be super loud for the video, and it was just going to annoy me to no end. So I figured, towel. And I happened to have an orange rag towel. Well, okay, I call it orange. I don't think it's actually orange anymore. I think it's more of a red. But when we got it, it was orange. I've had it since I was a kid. I think my mom and I picked them out at Walmart or something. Used to be a much prettier color. Is now quite faded. I actually really like the idea, the more that I think about it, of just getting like kind of plain or blah looking stuff for the yard and then just painting it myself and making it into exactly what I want or like exactly what my yard needs, instead of having to look around and find the exact right thing, find something that's cute and customizable, and then just do this. Customize to your heart's content. Yeah. Okay, so that's what I've done so far. And now we'll work on these two leaves up at the top. And this is definitely a funkier angle, so hopefully I don't miss anything. Again, I'm not being like too picky about where my paint is. I am going to come through with a shader color later just to get some highlights on these leaves. But you do have to get a base color down first. I was going to do this in acrylic, but I decided that I think I would like it better if it was matte. So I did end up going with gouache. We'll see if I regret that decision later on. I will definitely actually varnish it as well, just to make sure that it's a little more weather resistant. But then I think I'm gonna set it, I've got a really nice patio table, and I think I'm gonna just set it on that. The patio table has a space for an umbrella, but I have I don't know what you call it, like a patio cover already. So I don't need the umbrella. So there's just like a hole in the middle of my patio table. And I was thinking I could put this on top of that hole. Make it look a little nicer. I've also thought about getting one of those like fire pit type things, the like tabletop ones, because then I could actually use the patio in the winter. But then as it is, I don't use my backyard as much as I definitely should. I think if it looked nicer, I would. So I am really trying to get myself to do more stuff like this and make my backyard prettier so that I will want to spend time out there. I have a kind of funky backyard too. It's kind of sloped upward. So when they inevitably put houses behind my house, there's nothing behind my house right now, my neighbors will be like above me, which should actually be quite nice because they shouldn't be able to see into my yard at all. I'm going to try to do this left-handed. Good job, lefty. You do this too. I did recently injure my right hand, so I am trying to teach my left hand how to do some basic things, but brush strokes are not exactly basic. All right, there's that. Anyway, backyard slopes up, kind of weird, but that also means my backyard kind of has a flood risk when it rains, so it is just like crazy weeds for the most part, and I was advised to not remove the majority of the weeds because they are actually preventing my yard from flooding. So I have crazy weeds, and I'm supposed to leave them. But a lot of that, just because it's weeds, so it's ugly, it means that I don't spend as much time in my yard as I would like to, because it's not super seemly. Move this up a little bit. And I think I'm gonna start with the big sunflower. Yeah. And I have a bunch of colors, and I know sunflowers do come in like various shades, and a lot of the time the petals aren't just one color. Sorry, I'm trying to get this paint out of the tube. It doesn't want to. I get Liquitex acrylic gouache, and they've got this kind of a nozzle that's really nice, except that if you haven't used the paint in a minute, it'll dry in the nozzle, and you get these that you have to pull actually what I was going to say. I have to use a pin to get those things out, which is really frustrating, but at least I found a way to get them out. Okay, so I have peach, cadmium-free yellow, medium magenta, cadmium-free orange, quinacridone magenta, and Naples yellow. I have yellow ochre out in case I decide that I want it, but I don't always love yellow ochre mixed with these other colors. So probably I won't use those, but I got them out just in case. And honestly, this is probably going to end up taking like 2 or 3 coats, just because that gray is pretty dark. And, aw man, it's like a puddle of green over there. That's okay. Wash my brush. Ideally, I want to wait until the background dries, but I'm impatient. Holla if you agree. Don't holla. I don't know why I said that. I never say holla. Unless I'm talking about bread. I love challah bread. I swear, this is just one of those days that I was like, I want to do a video and I want to be random and I want to just chit chat and talk about whatever I want that doesn't have to do with anything paint-like, like challah bread. So I think what I'm going to do with these petals is I'm just going to get like a base coat down like this. And then I'll come back in and do another layer over that and see if that looks better. See if that like deepens the color a bit. Still deciding if I mind if some of that gray is showing through. At first I was like, nah, I don't mind. And then the more I look at this, the more I'm like, I might mind. I don't want any of that gray. Which will probably mean that after you and I are done here, I will come back through and fill in any bare spots with spare paint that's on my palette. Because I'm not going to bore you with me flipping this thing every which direction to get every single edge. I could not decide what would be the best order to do this in either. At first I was like, well, I should probably do the flowers first and then do the background, but then I didn't want to have the background color accidentally get on the petals, but then I don't want the petal color to accidentally get on the background. So I decided to do the background first purely so that I could have that done by the time you and I sat down to do this video, so that you would have an idea of what this will look like in the end. Not that I'm not going to finish it with you, but you know how it is. You'll see it like 98% of the way done. Yeah, that looks good. I do like this kind of varied colors in the petals. I think that looks really cool. That's what I was hoping for. What do you guys like to do when it's like super windy or cold or you don't want to go outside? Mine's obvious, I paint. I also tend to sit on the couch and kind of do nothing. I had like all these plans of stuff that I wanted to do today, and then the forecast for today literally just said wind. And kind of sucks because the last several days it's been so nice out, and I've just been like, oh, I just want to be outside, I just want to go outside and do stuff, and then I get home from work and I'm just beat, so I haven't gone outside to do anything. And then the one day that I have time that I can go outside and do stuff, it's stupid windy. It's very rude. Very rude of the weather. In case you can't tell, I'm recording on a Saturday. I think people don't normally say on YouTube, but I do normally record on Saturdays. It's one of those things I always wonder from other YouTubers. I'm like, when do you record? But nobody says. So I'm going to tell you guys. I record on Saturdays. Sometimes Sundays. Very rarely I'll record in the middle of the week. Only if I absolutely have to, or if I have a really good idea, or if I'm already working on a painting that I think you guys would like, and I just want to do like a voiceover with it. A lot of those ones are recorded in the middle of the week. And then I do the voiceover on the weekend. Well, I grabbed a bunch of green again. So I got a very nice green petal next to a very nice pink petal. Alright, so coat one on flower one, done. Ooh, I like this color. That's a nice color. It's a nice, like, deep peachy color. Yeah, quite nice. That's a good color for a sunflower. My mom got sunflowers, like actual sunflowers, from seed a couple years ago, I think. And they were this gorgeous, like, deep red. Super pretty. She did not plant them early enough, though, and they were not very stable. And they don't last super long either. At least not here. I think they do other places, but they don't really love it here. That's not true. Sometimes they do. Some varieties of sunflower really love it where I live, but the ones that I think are prettier, which are usually like the multicolor or the deeper color or anything like that, those ones tend to not thrive here as well. The more like fall colored sunflowers. This is coming along quite nicely. I'm actually really happy with how this paint is behaving on this surface too, because I don't really know what this is made of. But my paint is acrylic gouache, so because it's acrylic, it does tend to work nicely on more surfaces, where just plain gouache does not like other surfaces. But I really like that nice matte tone when it dries. That's probably a trend and it's probably going to go away, but I like it. The amount of random like leaning I'm having to do to paint these is hilarious. Oops, I picked up more green. Really surprised that background isn't dry yet. I still have pockets of wet paint up here. I've got some down here. I'm actually gonna smudge this piece down here. You can't see what I'm doing anyway. See, I'm smudging. It's like a big old smear of paint. Doesn't need to be that thick. So now I have a green middle finger. Does that mean I'm good at flipping plants off? Oh no. Oh no. That was terrible. I'm so sorry. I only used my middle finger because it was convenient. I mean, why would you use your thumb for such things? I almost never use my thumb for like smudging paint. I usually use my middle or my ring finger. I think because those two are like your weakest two fingers. So I have that like little bit less control, which if I'm smudging is kind of what I'm after. Trying so hard to not get sloppy. Especially when I know that it's like a base coat. I can a lot of the time just get like super sloppy with it. But I really don't want to have to cover a ton of errors. So I want to make sure I don't actually get sloppy with this. Which is why I'm doing crazy leaning. If you could see me, you would know. I only have one camera, or else I would set up another so that you could see multiple angles of what's going on over here. If you've ever painted and you're not like generally a painter, but you painted and you went, man, I get into all these funky contorted positions. This can't be what actual painters do. I'm sure they have like great posture while they paint. And they just look amazing. No, we don't. We get silly. We get into the position that the piece requires us to get into. And then we go see a chiropractor. Or get a massage. Personally, I prefer the massage. Actually, in my case, I tend to just work out after. Get myself back into alignment. I also completely forgot my compression glove for my hand at work, so we'll see how far through this I get for this video. I will get as far as I get. I don't know if I ever actually told you guys what happened to my hand. If I have, feel free to skip this section because I'm going to tell you again. I was cooking. This was last year. Probably just about a year ago, actually. I was making candied almonds because they're delicious. Does anyone need a reason to make candied almonds? No. If you want candied almonds, make candied almonds. I'm actually going to flip this around. Go this way. I have paint up there for some reason. Oh my gosh, I missed so many spots over here. And so I proceed to fix. Anyway. So, a year ago, making candied almonds. Everything was all well and good. Except that when I was done making the candied almonds, these two fingers were twitching. And then my hand kind of hurt. I wasn't super sure why. It's weird. And eventually figured out that I had done something to the, what is it, the occiput nerve? The one that has these two fingers in your hand. Did something to that nerve. Basically strained it. So I started wearing a compression glove. It wasn't that bad of a strain, so it was just like, okay, just wear the glove whenever you're doing something strenuous. Try not to have to stir that much. Always wear it when you paint, she says, having forgotten her glove. And in general, just kind of baby your hand till it gets better. Okay, not a big deal. My hand hurt, but not like badly, and after a few days, those fingers were acting normal again, so cool, whoopee, all is well. Not a few days, I'm lying, a few months, I meant months. So it did take a while for my hand to really feel normal again. I wore a compression glove for most of the time. I would wear a compression glove. If I ever wasn't wearing it, then I was doing something that was like easier on my hand and that didn't require it. Sorry, there's planes going by overhead and we're just gonna deal today because I'm just talking. Planes and wind, just the sounds we all wanted to hear. Anyway, so I wore a compression glove for a while, and after a few months it felt normal again, so I stopped wearing the glove, gradually, obviously, and everything was hunky-dory, and I basically just went back to normal. Wasn't wearing the glove, was just living my best life. Hadn't really thought anything of the injury for a while, and then I made burfi, which is an Indian dessert if you don't know, and I hadn't ever made it before, which was why I wanted to make it, and it took such an insane amount of stirring that I didn't actually finish it according to recipe directions. I got it like 80% of the way done, and my hand was hurting so bad that I stopped. And then those two fingers twitched a little bit for the rest of that day. And after that, I went back to wearing the compression glove. And I hadn't ever actually like seen a doctor about this. I had done like some telehealth stuff, and they had told me that it was what I thought it was, and that I was doing what I should be doing. Well, this time I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do this as rightly as I can, because it's my right hand, and I don't want to be having issues with my right hand. Like, I need it. I'm a painter and I'm a writer, and I am right-handed. I need my right hand. So I have seen a doctor now, and she agreed that it was what we all knew it was, that I had strained that nerve. And she got me a referral to go see occupational therapy, who, of course, can't see me for like 2 months. But in the meantime, I'm just to keep doing what I'm doing, baby it, compression glove. See this invisible compression glove? And I wear a wrist brace when I sleep, which is the most annoying thing, let me tell you. Well, let me finish my story and then I'll tell you about the wrist brace. So basically, I'm just this time really making sure that my hand is okay and making sure that I do everything that I can to make sure this doesn't happen again. And that if it does happen again, I know what to do and how to treat it and how to make sure that it's going to be okay and that it's not going to be a huge issue. So, it is feeling better than it was when I re-injured it, so that's good. But I am still going to go to occupational therapy and figure out what all I need to do, like what stretches I can do, what work I can do in general to make sure that this doesn't happen again, to like keep my hand strong, to keep that nerve happier. And then just go from there and hopefully just continue to get better and get better. And if I ever do have issues with it again, hopefully it will be a thing where I can just wear the glove for a while, wear the wrist brace to sleep, and be okay with just handling it myself and know that it's going to be okay. It's just going to take some time to get it to where it's super happy again. And I'm fine with that. I think that's kind of exactly what I was looking for when I went to see a doctor, was just get me a referral for occupational therapy, because that's what we both know I need. And then I'll do a few sessions with occupational to kind of build up a regimen of things I can do to help my hand and to make sure that my hand is okay long term, because I'm not okay with ever having the question of, is my hand okay? I don't want that. So, I wear a wrist brace to sleep now. And funny story, I don't like having things on me, like I'll wear clothes, but I don't like having anything other than the usual clothing when I'm sleeping. I was not really keenly aware of this until I was in high school, and my bedroom, there was a street light right across the street that would shine directly into my bedroom, and it had never been a big deal because there was a big tree that blocked most of the street light. Well, then that tree got removed, and I was having a hard time staying asleep because there's a super bright light shining into my bedroom, and blackout curtains weren't really a thing yet. So I had no idea those existed, or I would have just like asked my parents for those and it probably would have been all fine. But my best friend recommended that I try one of those eye masks. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. I don't have any issues with stuff on me while I'm sleeping. Yeah, that'll be fine. So I got an eye mask. And I started wearing it to bed, and I would fall asleep kind of okay. It would take me a little bit longer than usual to fall asleep, but it wasn't like a huge deal. It wasn't enough that it was really bugging me. and I was actually like able to fall asleep in general. So it was fine. Except that every single night in the middle of the night, I would wake up and I'd like panic because I couldn't see. And every single night in the middle of the night, I would rip that thing off my face and fling it across the room like it was the devil and I was throwing it away. Just get this off me. And that's kind of what I do with my wrist brace if I'm not super careful. I'm trying to be more like cognizant of, hey, you have a wrist brace on, it's fine, you're fine. But I did literally throw it to the trash the other night. I vaguely remember waking up and being like, what is this thing on me? And then chucking it. But I was like, I don't think that actually happened. No, it did. It did. Then I woke up and I was like, where's my wrist brace? I looked around the room and it's like right next to the trash can. It's like, well, at least I knew where I wanted it to be. In the trash. Legitimately, it's not the most comfortable thing to sleep in. I don't love it, but again, I am willing to do whatever I need to do to make sure that my hand is okay long term. Because I don't want to have long-term issues because I didn't want to sleep with a wrist brace on. Like, how stupid. So, wrist brace it is. And that's one of my favorite, like, funny stories to tell now, is my body just being like, what is this? And throwing the wrist brace across the room. I'm hoping that I don't, like, throw it and hit something that's breakable, because I do have, like, my vanity mirror and stuff in my bedroom that are, like, right in throwing range. I'm like, please don't damage anything while you're sleeping, okay? But again, I don't really know how to control what I'm doing in my sleep. I do love how this is looking, by the way. I like this variation in color. I like having various yellows into kind of oranges. I think 2 coats is going to be plenty for the petals, which is nice. Because I do actually want to finish this with you. I don't want to have to finish it off camera or something. Be like, hey guys, let's paint this thing. Except I can't finish it with you because my hand hurts. And no, really, it's doing fine right now. And this is the only hands-on thing I'm planning on doing today. So, no problemo. But if you see a video where I'm not wearing a wrist brace, feel free to ask me if it's because I couldn't find it or because I left it at work. Just tell you right now, the answer is probably yes. I should just get more of them. Not a wrist brace, a compression glove. Can't wear a wrist brace while you paint, or at least I can't use my wrist a lot. I should just get like 4 or 5 more compression gloves. Just to make sure that I have plenty, because I could just have like a kitchen compression glove. Thinking about getting a like smaller compression glove for the kitchen actually, and then just wearing a glove over it while I cook so that I don't have like the but this isn't clean issue. Because lately I've just been like, well, I'm only cooking for me, so it's not a big deal. But I do love cooking, so I want to be able to have people over and cook for them. and not have it be a question of, is any of this clean? You're wearing a compression glove. Alright, what do you guys think of this so far? Because I think this actually looks really cute. Obviously, nowhere near done yet. I'll try to get through at least the bulk of it with you. We'll try to get like the base coats of everything done before I give up for the night. So I really want you guys to at least have a general idea of what this will look like when it's done. Ideally, I'll finish it, but already getting kind of tired, and I'm hungry. I don't know how long I thought this was going to take, but I didn't think it was going to take this long. I think I should have known that it was going to take a while because yellows don't like to cover things. But I didn't really think of that. I just thought, oh, this will be fun. All right. Now I don't know what petals I've done and what petals I haven't. These I haven't, and these two I haven't. Okay, we got this. And then we'll flip it around again. We'll work on the centers. Trying to not block what I'm doing, but again, I'm not left-handed. She says, painting with her left hand. Not well, though. Just like deposited a bunch of random paint on here. Alright. Almost done with this flower. And then we'll move on to that last one. And then, like I said, we'll do the centers. We have an accent color to go on those leaves. I might add some marbling to some of the petals. There you go. All right, so last flower. Okay. I'm pretty darn happy with how this looks so far, though. I don't think it's gotten too sloppy. I know I'm not being like super particular with some of my edges, but I think for something like this, like because I haven't gotten like crazy sloppy, and I'm just being like slightly sloppy, it kind of works. Because it has that kind of stony feel to it, which almost makes you feel like it doesn't need to have that absolutely perfect paint job. And I still have some of that background color on my palette, so I can always come back in with a little more of that right after I finish everything else. All right. Do you like? Trying to like vary the petal color, but not vary it too much, because I don't want it to be too like, I don't know, psychedelic sunflower. Not that it would really be psychedelic in sunflower colors, but you know. That one. And I think I might go with a more yellow tone on this guy down here. Fix that. Can you tell I'm just getting excited to finish the petals? I'm not gonna lie, this petal painting, getting really old. I would like to be done painting petals now, please. I'm almost done. That was too much paint on my brush. Interestingly enough, with the shape of the petals, it does kind of feel very similar to painting nails. Yeah. All right. Let's see, just these guys. So, and then I think I'm gonna do this to this guy, and this to this guy, and then I think that looks nice. All right, so now for the centers. You like how I was thinking this wasn't going to be an hour if I painted that background first, and then it's still like, so I think we're almost at an hour now. Oops. Well, I didn't think we'd get to an hour, but oh well. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna get the color put into these three. I might put a little bit of highlight on them. Maybe I'm just gonna put the center color in here. We'll see how long that takes. And if it doesn't take too long, we'll continue. If it takes too long, we won't. Sound like a plan? Okay. I haven't had an hour-long video in a while either, so hopefully y'all are okay with this. I don't know how I'm gonna paint these. Probably just like this, honestly. So it's just gonna have some of that gray showing through. Which honestly might give it kind of a natural highlight. I do like this color. This is chocolate from Turner Gouache, by the way, in case you wanted to know. Okay, well it seems like this isn't going to take too terribly long, so that's nice at least. I think I will add, maybe I'll use yellow ochre on top of that to add a little bit of a highlight. I think with the petals done, this will probably go pretty quick now. How's it look on camera? That looks pretty nice on camera, huh? It's interesting when I'm painting, especially when I'm painting top down like this, I can't always perfectly see what it looks like because I have so many lights on it. But then if I look at the camera sees what it looks like. So I have the camera angled so that I can see not what I'm doing, but how my colors look, really. Trying to like get this color in without affecting my petals. Would you guys at all be interested in like paint sounds videos? I haven't really seen much for those. But I could try to record something like that if you guys liked it, because I am noticing like while I'm doing this, some of these sounds are actually quite nice. I need more paint. I ran out. Not that I got much out to begin with. Okay, I'm going to go at this with the big brush, and then I think I'll take a smaller brush and I'll kind of try to get into those edges a little bit. Because it looks like on camera, at least you can really see that edge where it's up against the petals. And I want some of that to go away. Okay, I can't see what I'm doing. Rotate. This thing's heavy too. Alright. That'll do for now. And dry that guy off. No longer use that guy. We'll go back to this guy. And without taking this out of your frame so you guys can see what I'm doing, just go around those edges a little bit. I don't think this needs a ton. Just a touch. It also kind of depends on what angle you're at as to whether you even notice that color there or not. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Still has a little bit on the edges, but I can't really get it without also painting the petals. Which I appear to have already done, and I'm going to fix that. Like so. Okay. So that looks good. Then I have the highlight color for the leaves, just here. Couldn't figure out where I put it. This one is Japanesque Pale Green, also from Turner. If you get this one and you think to yourself, why does this color not work? Mix it with water. Mix it with like a decent amount of water, and then it works. If you don't mix enough water with it, it is just not cooperative. And I'm just I'm following that center stem, and then after that I'm just adding some of the pale green just to kind of make those leaves a little less flat. I don't think you can see what I'm doing. Nope. Because they just, in comparison to the flowers, are just a little bit lifeless. Almost like dry brushing a little bit. The hair on the brush. Like that. Okay, I don't love this leaf here. See if we can fix it. And then the last leaf. I actually have an idea now. I'm kind of going to fill the centers of all the leaves with this color. Like that. So I think that looks a little nicer than the indiscriminate lines. A bit more natural, I think. Also just matches a little better with the petals and everything, I think. And that'll make this leaf look a little more normal too. There. Yes, that I like. Okay, and then I'm actually gonna take a little bit of that chocolate color and I'm gonna hit the stems just a little bit. Not a lot. Just gonna kind of do that. I think that added a nice touch as well. And then for the finishing touch, get that yellow ochre out. Maybe a little more than that. Okay. And this one is also from Turner. I'm trying to be better about telling you guys what paints I'm using because some of you have sent me Instagram messages that you are interested. Yeah, like that. That looks cool. I think when I get into the finishing touches is always when I don't have very much to say because I'm so focused on just like finishing and getting it to look like the vision that I had in my head, or at least similar to the vision I had in my head. Never exactly looks like your vision. Because I think I thought this would be a little bit more pinky, but I do like how it's turned out. It's a little bit fallish. think actually I've got a smaller brush here and I still have enough yellow ochre out that I'm going to do one more thing to those leaves. Take that yellow ochre and I'm going to hit the spines. Almost done. It's also when I'll drop into a whisper on accident. That looks cool. Alright, so I added that little bit of yellow ochre to the stems as well, and I actually love how that looks. So we're just doing the finishing touches on these leaves. And then we'll be done. And there she is, ladies and gents. The finished tile, whatever you want to call it. I don't really know what else to call it. It's a tile. Yard tile? I don't know. Thing. And I think that looks really cute. See if I can show you guys some of the details. The flowers look really good. I think that looks really nice. And that was really fun to do. I hope you guys enjoyed this. My hand is done for the day. And I will see you guys in a couple weeks with a whole new video. If you have any video ideas or there's anything in particular you want to know about painting, about my paintings, about the materials that I use, or anything at all, let me know. I would be happy to add your suggestion into the video list. Great. Well, thank you for joining me for a long video this evening, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Bye.